Good morning, dear students. This is your fifth semester subject in Diploma Engineering Civil, Railway and Bridge Engineering. In that subject, we are here to discuss the points and crossing. On that, we will discuss here the turnout, its types, in types left hand turnout and right hand turnout, the components, the points and switches, and crossing. So, what is a turnout in a railway engineering? In a railway engineering, the uh, why turnout is needed? As we know, in transportation engineering, normal highway engineering, a road vehicle, in case of road vehicle try to move in any direction, it has steering, it has handle, it can change its direction as its will, at its will. Trains not possible at will to change the direction. So trains are bound. Trains are bound by the turnouts to change its direction. Change is made possible with the provision of turnouts. Train cannot be changed its directions at its will. It is provided with turnouts to change its moving direction, left or right. Consists of points and crossings. Turnouts consisting of points and crossings. Information sent to locopilot using signals, left or right. Okay. Now, what is the definition of turnout? Turnout is a simple arrangement of points and crossings by the manipulation of which the train from one track may be diverted to the another track or from a branch to a side turnout. Two tracks, as you see, you can see this figure here. This is your main branch and all turnouts are towards the right. Two tracks either merge, either they are merging or they are diverging, or two tracks parallel to each other but are still connected to each other. This connection helps in changing the direction of train. Turn out. For this, points are and crossings are used to make a turnout. Points and crossings are used. So types. Depending upon direction of movement of the train, if it is moving left, then it is called left hand turnout. If it is moving right, then it is called right hand turnout. So you are seeing the figure here. This is a right hand turnout. So this is a right hand turnout and the wheel is either moving, this is the main line and this is the branch line. The branch line is moving towards which direction? Right direction. So that's why the name is right hand turnout. Animated, this is the animated diagram. As you are seeing, the wheel is moving, the train wheel is moving on the rail. So of a right hand railroad switch, rail track A divides into two tracks B. So A to B, now A to C. A to B is the straight track and A to C is the diverging track. So in as we have seen in the last animated diagram, constituents, different components as a whole we are seeing in this figure. So this is your main line and this is your right hand turnout line. So there are many things as you are seeing. This is your main rail, outer straight lead rail or stock rail. Okay. So these are the different things we are discussing in the next slide. Different components here. You see different components of a turnout. First one is a pair of tongue rails, then a pair of stock rails, two check rails, four lead rails, a V crossing, slide chairs, stretcher bar, a pair of heel blocks, switch tie plate or gauge, parts for operating points, rods, cranks, levers, etc. Then locking arrangement, locking system within which includes locking box, locking bar, plunger bar, etc. We are seeing. We'll see here. In this diagram, so this point, as you see, this in the black color, it is the main line, main rail, running rail, as you are we are telling it as running rails. Okay. Now this is a diagram of simple turnout showing the names of the principal parts, main parts, moving switch blades shown in reds. So these red is called switch blades. What we are telling it as you called point or switch blades. So the topic name is points and crossing. So this is the main point or its the other name is switch. Okay, shown in the red. Okay, and stretching it with a stretcher bar. This vertical red line is called stretcher, making it apart. So starting from toe, ending with heel, as your foot, starting with toe, ending with heel, toe, heel. Okay. Now here you can see where the main root and branch root is diverting. This circular area is called crossing. Your topic name is crossing. So this is your crossing, this is your point, this is your crossing. Okay, so now you see these are the main things. This is a running rail, this is a running rail, and you are diverting it here using check rails, crossing, stock rails, stretcher, etc. Here you see one switch or point. So how the train diverts while it going in straight, the switches are just in that way. While trying to go in the right direction, the switches are moved in that direction. So the train will move in the direction what have given here in the switches. What direction given in the point area, in the switch area, the train will move in that direction. This is the switch or point, and this bar is called stretcher. This bar is called stretcher. The whole system is called switch. The red area only, the red area. Components and parts. A pair of stock rails. In points and crossing total system, the main parts, one is a pair of stock rails. Stock rails along with their respective tongue rails from a pair of switches or points. Functions of stock rails is to facilitate smooth working of tongue rails. A pair of tongue rails or switch rail, the rails which lie between the two stock rails. End portion of the tongue rail is called toe and the connected by stretcher bar. It is the moving part of the switch which diverts the train from one track to the other track. You are see stock rails, what it is? This is your stock rail or main rail, and you are diverting it by using this is your wing rails. Okay. Now the third component is heel blocks or distance blocks. These are the blocks inserted between the heel of the stock rail and tongue rail used to provide clear gap for the wheel flange, train wheel flange. In a very see, this is your main rail, then you can see here, this is your switch, this one and this one is your switch. These are the plates to hold the switch, stock rails. Then the other things are switch stops, the plates. Okay. The next component is to check rails. Function of the check rail is to check the tendency of wheels to climb over the crossing, wing rails, fifth component, rails which are used to guide the inner wheel flange of the train. Two check rails. So now you see here the check rail. This is also called nose. This is also called nose. This one is your nose. This one. This is your this is your main line, and this is your branch line. So this is your guiding rail called wing rail. Okay. Now 4 lead rails or guide rails. Function of these rails is to lead the track from heel of the switch to the toe of the crossing. Okay, you can see a left hand turnout here. This is left hand turnout, lead rails. So these are the lead rails. This one is your lead rail, nose, called nose. Crossing nose, we have already seen, this is called nose, crossing nose. It is an arrangement of rails introduced at the junction where two rails cross to permit the wheel flange of a railway vehicle to pass from one track to the other track. Components and parts and functions, switch tie plate. Seventh component is function of the switch tie plate is to maintain gauge distance and front of the switch. Then start, also called stop. A bent plate which is jointed to stock rail is called stop. Function is to stop and maintain the alignment. Slide chairs. Function of a slide chair is to support the tongue rails throughout their length. The chairs are 12.5 centimeter to 15 centimeter wide. Then the last one is stretcher bar. Function of the stretcher bar is to connect the toes of both the tongue rails so as each tongue rail moves through the same distance. Stretcher bar, as you are seeing here, previously you have seen, this bar is called stretcher bar, basically used to connect the toe of the tongue rails so that both the tongues moves through the same distance or gap. Generally 2 or 3 bars are used near and behind the toe. So today we will discuss this much, and the next meeting we will discuss the crossings in detail. Thank you so much.